Assalamu alaikum. Today on Noran Academy, we discuss how Muslims can move from being passive users of technology to active leaders in shaping our digital future. If you benefit, please support by subscribing and sharing as a sadaqah. So, let's just dive right in. Think about it for a second. What's one of the first things so many of us do every single day? It's almost automatic, right? We grab our phone and we just start scrolling. And as for scrolling, what happens next? We see something, we react. A quick double tap, a thumbs up, whatever the gesture is, we signal our approval. We like it. Then, something really catches our eye. It resonates. And what do? We amplify it. We hit that button and pass it on to our friends, our family, our networks. We share. And through this whole cycle, scrolling, liking, sharing, what are we actually doing? We're taking it all in. We're absorbing stories, ideas, and values. We are, at the end of the day, consuming. Now, this simple routine, day in and day out, it becomes this quiet, almost unconscious habit. We become, users. Users in a digital world that, let's be honest, was built by others. And this is a huge deal for us because our tradition, our history in Islam is one of shaping history, not just following the latest trend. So it really forces us to stop and ask a critical question. What story are we actually living inside of? You see, every app, every platform, every single piece of tech we touch, it's not neutral. It's telling a story. It has its own set of values about what's important, what gets celebrated, and what gets pushed to the side. And here's the thing. If we're not helping to write that story, then we're just characters living in someone else's, and that puts a massive choice right in front of us. So on one hand, you've got the user mindset. It's pretty passive, isn't it? The main question is, hey, what's trending right now? It's all about just going with the flow. But then, on the other hand, you have the leader mindset, and this is completely different. It's intentional. The question isn't what's trending, it's what is the impact of this. It's about shaping the flow, not just being carried along by it. And this is so important to get right. When we talk about leadership in an Islamic context, we're not talking about dominance or being in control. No way. True leadership is about direction. It's about providing guidance, setting a positive course, and then being accountable for where we're all headed. Okay, so let's dig a little deeper into this. Let's really look at the values that are baked into the technology we use every single day. Because, like we said, these platforms are anything but neutral. They are absolutely telling a story. Think about what today's tech really celebrates. We often absorb these values without even realizing it. It's all about speed, getting information fast, not necessarily gaining wisdom. It's about growth at all costs, sometimes pushing justice to the side. And maybe the biggest one, it's all about engagement, getting those clicks, those views, those likes, even if it comes at the expense of the actual truth. And that's the real danger of just being a passive consumer. When we just accept these values without ever questioning them or offering something better, that's not being neutral. That's being silent. And silence is a choice, especially when our own values are calling on us to speak up. So what's the alternative then? What could a future look like if it was actually defined by Muslim leaders in this space? Well, it means we have to fundamentally shift our approach. We have to stop just reacting to the future that's handed to us and start actively defining it. Just picture it for a moment. Imagine a new generation of Muslims designing platforms where human dignity isn't an afterthought, but the central feature. Imagine us building tools that actually serve our community's real needs, creating content that doesn't just entertain, but genuinely uplifts people's minds and souls, setting ethical standards so high that others look to us for inspiration. That's the vision we should be aiming for. Okay, that's a beautiful vision, but how do we actually get there? How do we make that a reality? Well, it begins with a clear step-by-step path, a path that takes us from being a passive consumer to becoming an active creator. This whole journey really breaks down into 4 key steps. Number 1, we've got to understand the system. We need to really learn how these platforms work under the hood, how they're designed to influence us. Number 2, we have to build skills, and I mean real skills, not just a flashy online profile. We're talking about coding, design, critical thinking, ethical analysis. Third, and this is a big one, we have to create. We need to be the ones writing, building, teaching, putting good things out into the world, not just taking things in. And finally, and this is the foundation for everything, we have to anchor it all in our values. The digital world is noisy for sure, but our principles have to be louder.
And underneath all of this entire mission is anchored in a really deep spiritual concept. It's about seeing our digital footprint, our online presence, as both a profound trust and a serious choice.
This one idea just completely reframes everything. You see, Islam teaches us that any influence we have, and I mean any influence, no matter how small you think it is an amanah. It's a sacred trust. So, if people are listening to what you say or using what you build or looking at what you design, you are responsible for where that leads them. That totally redefines leadership in this digital age, doesn't it? It's not about visibility. It's not about follower counts. It is 100% about accountability for that trust. Look, the future is going to be shaped one way or another. That's a given. Technology isn't stopping, and its stories will keep being told. So the question isn't if it will be shaped, but by whom. And that leaves every single one of us with a very direct, very personal challenge. Will you remain a user, or will you step up and become a leader? Because at our core, the Ummah was never ever meant to just sit on the sidelines and watch. We were meant to guide, to correct, to uplift. This shift from users to leaders. This is our moment to take the wheel and actually direct where this technology goes, instead of just adapting to wherever it takes us. Presented and created by Norin Studio.